to the show. This is DIY with Emma, and this time we are going to do ourselves a apple pie. It's homemade. It's like Grandma used to make. In fact, it's my grandma's recipe. So we're going to get right started. First of all, the ingredients that you need is at least probably 6 to 10 apples. Granny Smith apples is good. That's what Grandma used. You could use, green apples. You could use crisp apples. You could use, Macintosh apples. And I like to keep them in the fridge. That way they're crisp. And then you just take your apple and you cut that puppy up into quarters. And the easiest way to do that would be to cut the apple in half and then slice it, and then cut it again, cut the pieces again, and make them into quarters. And then you just put them in a bowl, and we are going to add all kinds of goodies. We are going to add cinnamon, we're going to add brown sugar, we're going to add butter. It's going to be very, very good. And a little bit of flour. The flour is thickening. So a couple tablespoons, maybe a teaspoon, give or take, of flour. It doesn't take a whole lot. I've got that right here. I've got butter. We're going to put butter in the top to help cream it up. And we've got our brown sugar over here. So we're cutting the apples. And I went ahead and cut the first batch already. And we're putting them in a bowl where we're going to add all of our goodies. Now, this takes prep time probably, depending on how fast you cut apples, 15 to 20 minutes. And just use your cutting board. And like I said, cut them in half, and then cut them in quarters, and then cut the quarters in pieces. Bite-sized pieces are best. Some people like little bitty, teeny, tiny pieces. I don't like that. I like bite-sized pieces where you can taste it instead of just swallowing it. So we've got all that. We're putting that in a bowl. We also have our cake pan, and our baking dish is 9 by 6 for this one, because you could use more if you use more apples to make more of a cobbler. This is more of a pie instead of a cobbler. So we've got all that. We've got our pieces in there. Set that aside. And I usually make my pie dough, but this time I'm going to use store-bought pie dough, which works just as well. No big deal. And you can get it there in the grocery store where the cinnamon rolls are, the biscuits. Usually they have milk and yogurt, and in that area you get it. So we're going to open this up. Now you can put a bottom one on there if you want a top and a bottom on your pie, but you don't have to. You could just do it for the top. I like to make kind of a sandwich type of thing. It's just my preference. It doesn't have to be your preference. Unroll that puppy. It's very, very easy. And then just put it in your pie shell. Make sure all the sides are up. Press it out with your fingers. Now, I like to turn it and kind of press it down. So you can either leave it, without the bottom one, or put the bottom one in there. So that's ready to go. So we prepped our pan. Now what we're going to do is get our apples, and we've got those. You can put a little bit of butter. I like to take the cinnamon and just shake it in there. You can, doesn't take a whole lot. You can just do that, and then just kind of take your hands and go around like that. Then I like to put the brown sugar in there, kind of mix that up. Now, once you get that done, the butter and the cinnamon and the brown sugar for sweetness, you could use regular white sugar. I like brown sugar just for the taste. Makes it a little more sweeter, makes it a little more yummier, for lack of a better word. So we're doing that. And you can use a spoon, you can use a wooden spoon, you could use a regular spoon, you could use a spatula. I like to get my hands dirty. So cooking is all about getting your hands dirty, getting in there and doing it, showing the love. That's where the love comes in. Now, you can put this. You can add the flour now, or you can add it on the top. It doesn't matter. I usually put just a little bit. You don't need a lot. Just a little bit to bind it together. Tablespoon, teaspoon, a couple of them, just until everything's coated. And once you've done all that, then you take it and you put it in your pie shell. This is going to be so good. You put it in the pie shell. You spread it around. And what I like to also do is preheat my oven to 350, 375, depending on your oven. If your oven runs hot, I would do 350. If your oven runs a little cooler and takes a little longer to heat up, I would do 375. And once you get that on there, then you get your other pie, the top of your pie. And you want to always keep a towel handy to wipe your hands there. And then you get the other one. Like I said, you can make your own. Perhaps that'll be next time on how to make pie dough. And, it's really super easy for the pie dough. It doesn't take long. But today, since I was running behind all day, I thought this might be a little bit easier and faster. So, and like I said, people will not know the difference. I don't have a preference on the pie dough, store-bought pie dough, just whatever you want. You personally, I usually grab the Pillsbury. It's right there. But it doesn't really matter. The bargain works just the same. Then you pinch those together to seal it. And it doesn't have to be fancy, because once they smell this pie, they're going to dig in. So once you get all that done, and you have your pie, okay, this is the good part. Then you take a knife and you put air holes. You don't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be a lot. I put about 4 or 5 in there so the steam can come out as it cooks, and then it will penetrate the whole house and it will smell so good. Okay, so we're going to do that. And if you want, you can butter the top to make it more golden brown. If you want, you can melt a little butter in the microwave, take a pastry brush and just go over the top. That will help to make it more golden brown. That's the secret of like bakers. Just an FYI, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Then you put it in the oven, bake it off for 20 to 30 minutes. Check it every now and then, and once it's bubbling in the middle, you'll know when it's done, because you'll be able to smell it. So we'll be putting this in the oven, then we'll come back and we will have it. There you have it, Grandma's apple pie, and it is easy to make, just DIY. Not a problem for anybody to make Grandma's apple pie. If you want the recipe, it will be on the Facebook page, and you can get a hold of me and I will send it to you. So, till next time, we'll see ya. Bye!